Earlier this month, maybe 2 weeks ago, Joe Biden, and this has been an overarching statement that this Democrat leadership has been saying in the past year. Joe Biden said, our nation's children are all our children. And then the press secretary said, your kids belong to all of us. No, they don't. They do not. But what this sounds eerily familiar to is what happened in Mao's China. And joining us right now is someone who lived through the Chinese Cultural Revolution, Xi Van Fleet. Welcome to the show, ma'am.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
I just have to ask you, when you hear that line coming from the President of the United States, that's got to be chilling, right?
Yeah, that's what I said. Hauntingly familiar.
It is very, very scary. Now, you went through this. I kind of want to just give you the floor because your experience is so critical. And of course, I have the background on you, and some people may not know much about what you went through because you personally experienced it as a young girl. It sounds like exactly what's happening in America. So can you explain to everyone and tell everyone a little bit about your experience and what you went through so they can understand just how bad this is right now?
Yes. I grew up in Mao's China. It's been my first 26 years there. And the Cultural Revolution started in 1966 and ended when Mao died in 1976. That whole 10 years was my school years in China. And after I graduated from high school, I was sent to the countryside to get re-educated by the peasants until later that Deng Xiaoping rose to power and reopened universities. And when I could go to university, and later on, I was so fortunate to be able to come to America as a student. That's my background. But what I taught from day one, from kindergarten, from preschool, age of 3, and I remember we were taught we were not really the children of our parents. We belong to the party. We belong to Chairman Mao. I had my first formal paper evaluation when I was 3 in preschool. And it said that at 3 years of age, I understood that Mao was our great leader, and we are all Mao's little children, and I wanted to be his little good child. And that's how early on that they drilled this in you. And so we believe that Mao and the party were our real parents. We sing songs, and the songs are still being sung today, that Mao is our real parents. So people have to know, what's the consequence? Can I tell you the consequence?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are the party, and we are the property of the party. During the Cultural Revolution, there are endless stories of children reporting their parents. And there's one very, very sad story of this boy of 16. And he reported his mother because she said something. She complained about the Cultural Revolution at home. He and his father together reported his mother. 2 months later, she was executed. And that's how the party and the Communist Party were be able to own the children and can turn them against their own parents. And that's actually happening already in the United States.
Well, you can see it with this gender stuff, right? So there's certain states now where if a kid says that they're not their right gender and the parents disagree, the state can come and take the kids away. That's the exact same thing, isn't it?
Enemy, of the children.
And I'm sure at some point, and I don't know that it's quite there yet, but that they will make criminal law against parents not allowing their children to do whatever they want. And that is how you separate children from their parents and how the government starts to take control. It's crazy because, again, growing up in America, I could never imagine seeing this here. And so it's shocking and almost unbelievable But that's why you're so important, and that's why your voice is so important, because it is totally believable when you meet someone who lived through it.
Yeah, what I'm really trying to do since my speech at the Loudoun County School Board, and is that this is nothing new. This happened. It happened before. It happened to me, and it happened to millions of children living under communism. Why? Because the left and the communism, they're using the same playbook, and that is Marxism and cultural Marxism. That's so important for people to understand. And they have to own the children because they depend on the children to carry their revolution. And in order to do that, they have to separate parents from children. In China, it's more in the open. Because they have power, they did not even hide. They told the parents that these are not your children. Your job is to help the party to make the children to be the successors of the communist cause. It's right in the open. It's the song we sing, but here they do it a little differently. They can't say those things in the open, not yet, but they do that. They create. You talk about separating children and from parents, and criminalize parents who are not support the transition of their children to the opposite sex. But also they have been creating this ideological divide. They have been indoctrinated the kids, and then the kids are playing the role of educating their outdated, racist, old-fashioned parents. That's exactly what happened in China.
All right, I have number one, the two words that you said there that everyone should have they should have listened to very, very closely are not yet. They're not open about it yet. But at the rate that we are going, at the exponential rate of cultural change and all of this empowering of children, it's going to happen. Like it's coming up next, and it's scary. Yeah. The question I have for you, the follow-up question I have for you is, do you think ultimately this is part of China's plan to kind of destroy America? When you take a look at TikTok, and I'm not sure how familiar you are with TikTok, with what's pushed to kids, because that gender stuff is pushed there.
Yeah, the gender stuff. I just tweeted about this. The gender stuff was there only for the Western users, the Western audience. All this was forbidden in China. Why? All the people have to understand. All this had one purpose: to destabilize a society, to really control, destroy the society, because they want to take power. And that's how they do it. They create chaos. They destroy the norms of the society. In the process, they get power. Once they have power, they will control everything. They will control everything. You can't just say, okay, today I'm trans, tomorrow I'm something. No, they're going to create a new norm for you to live by. And that's why the woke stuff, you can see it in China, that they don't allow this to destabilize their country, so that destabilize their power. So that's very important for people to understand. And this is not from China. Well, China played a role, but this is all from America. This is homeborn, and this is the Marxist, the American Marxists that started their revolution against America since the 1930s.
Wow. At one point, we actually called it out with McCarthyism, the Red Scare back in the day. They saw this coming, and then that disappeared pretty quickly.
Exactly. They started in the university and the Frankfurt School, Marxists. They pushed the idea, and eventually the idea got out of the classroom and university library and got on the streets. Now they are in everywhere of our institutions. And it's because they have been preparing future Marxism, weaponize the children for decades. And I have to say, why they work so hard to take control of the children? So during the Cultural Revolution, Mao did not use the army to overthrow his political enemy and their power, he used kids. He used kids from middle school, some even in elementary school, to college. All those kids belong to him because he owned them. He had control of the school for 17 years before he launched the Cultural Revolution. And now let's see what happened here. We see the social justice warriors, we see Antifa, we see BLMers. Most of them are young American. And so they are the same, from the same pipeline of the indoctrination mills called public schools.
It's this is scary. I wanted to start my weekend off on a high, but this is incredibly scary. I seeing this coming, because what you're saying, it's a 1-for-1. It literally is the exact same thing. It's the same playbook that was used then. Now, let me ask you this, though. I please give me some hope here. When you go and speak about this, are people waking up? Are people like, oh my God, we need to do something about this?
I think people are waking up. People ask me about this, and I ask myself about, is there hope? Well, I've been living in the United States for over 35 years. I think 37. I was never involved in politics. And it was because they pushed the radical agenda so fast and so to the extreme, I got involved in 2020. And along the way, I saw so many parents got involved. And when I talk to them, they're just like me. They got involved for the first time in their life. We are all call ourselves accidental activists. That's the hope, because they awakened a sleeping lion. Absolutely. The parents are involved, and I think, it started in Loudoun County. I'm so proud to be part of it. That's our hope, that the parents get involved and stand up and speak out. And that's our hope.
Loudoun County is one of the worst with their education system, what they did with that school board there. I'm glad, though, that they were so bad there that they woke you up and they woke up so many other parents. And you're such an important voice. It looks like you've got a book coming out about this, coming out, Mao's America, A Survivor's Warning. It's coming out in October. Can you tell people about that?
Yes. I have been invited to speak to people in different places. They all ask me the question, do you have a book? Are you going to write a book? So finally, I decided this is so important that I have to do it. So because each time I have like a 40 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, I can't really tell the whole story. So I put it all in the book. It's about the parallels of what happened in China and what's going on here, and let people know this is the same thing. Same thing because it comes from the same playbook. It is Marxist cultural revolution that's taking place here. And I also tell people my own experience and what we can do to push back.
Yeah. And we have to, and more people need to wake up to it. I'm glad that you have this book coming out. I think it's very important. I mean, just our little bit of a 10-minute conversation that we've had here, it really is chilling and scary to see, especially speaking to a survivor, how it's the exact same thing. And that's really what, and I want people to play this back if you can, if you have the SiriusXM app, and listen to what Miss Van Fleet said here when she said, not yet. Because it's coming. Everything that she went through is coming here. And it's up to us to win this culture war and fight back, or else we lose our country permanently, right?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, it's incredible. I'm glad that you wrote the book. I can't wait to get it when it comes out. But again, our conversation here should wake up so many people if you're not already. I mean, just take a look at Target. Just take a look at what Target is doing. And it's corporations are signing up for this stuff. That is scary stuff. She Van Fleet, the book coming out. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say, people, they are after our children. Remember, they are after our children. We have to save our children in order to save this country.
There's the San Francisco Gay Men's Choir. I know this is a real stretch of a reference here. They had a song, "We're Coming for Your Children," literally like a year and a half ago. that they quick pulled down from the internet when they put it up because it was so chilling. People are like, what the hell is this? That's what it is. And they'll gleefully sing about it. So I'm glad that you're here to warn everyone about it. You're a very, very important voice. Again, her book is going to be Mao's America, A Survivor's Warning. It comes out October, but you can pre-order it everywhere books are sold. Xi Van Fleet, thank you for sharing your horrible experience from the past to wake people up now.
Thank you so much.
No problem. You're listening to The David Webb Show here on SiriusXM Patriot Channel 125.